come from actually a long line of military. My father, my grandfather, my uncles, on both sides, mother and father, were all military. And that had everything to do with me joining the military. I lived a military lifestyle my entire life. I mean, we moved from base to base to base, even overseas into France for like 6 years. And that had a profound impact on my life. I grew up in it, and there was never any question about what I wanted to do. I could get an education, I could get training, I could get all of those things, but I would have a career for the rest of my life. And even at 17, I knew that. I had a great sense of pride, and my self-esteem was up. My sense of myself was up. My self-confidence was just very, very good at that time because of what I was doing. But that had been instilled in me all of my life, you know, from my father and my uncles and my grandfather, that it was an honor and a privilege to be able to serve your country. And there was nothing any better than doing that. It took a turn the day that the SIU showed up at work in front of all of my comrades and brothers and sisters in arms one day, and I was told that I had to go with them without question. And I didn't question it. I was told, these gentlemen are here to escort you someplace, you need to go with them. And I had no idea what was going on. I really didn't. I just was like, what? And it terrified me. I didn't know what was happening. They escorted me out of the building, literally threw me in the back of a K car, a blue one. And I remember it very well. And told me, you know, I kept asking, you know, where are we going? What are we doing? Like, what's happening? And they just told me to shut up and sit in the car and just keep my mouth shut. The room itself, I mean, the room itself was very intimidating in a lot of ways. It was dark, except for one light bulb in the middle of the room hanging over top of a desk and a chair. I had to sit in the chair. You know, the one guy kept walking around and around the table. And then when he went around the back of me, he'd flick me in the back of the head. Answer the question, you know, just flick. And at one point in time, he whacked me in the back of the head. And he's like, you got to answer our questions. And I'm like, I don't understand. I've answered your questions. And I was there for hours. I have no idea how long I was there for. No idea. And it was nighttime by the time they dropped me off back at the barracks. And by then, everybody knew. Everybody in the barracks knew that I'd been picked up. And nobody would talk to me, you know. And they took me into the barracks, and I walked into my barrack room, and they started tearing it apart. I mean, they went into my cubby, and they took everything out of it, threw it on the floor. I felt in some ways like I was back in basic, where they would do an inspection, you know, and they would flip up the mattress and do all that sort of stuff. But that's to be expected at that time. But they went through everything. They went through my underwear. They went through everything. They literally just tore it all apart. And I just was like, wow. So finally, they left. But it went on like this for a long time. Months. Same thing over and over again. I felt shame. I felt a lot of shame, you know, when you're standing there in your room, in your barrack room, and they're tearing everything apart. And all I could do was look at the floor. I couldn't even raise my head, you know. And more and more, my self-esteem went down. There was a certain amount of shame. I still feel the effects. I still get triggered off, you know. I suffer from PTSD, and I'm living with it. Suffering from and living with is the way I'm trying to look at it now. You know, I'm learning how to live with PTSD and learning how to live with the triggers and have relationships with people because all my life I haven't really had good relationships with people. So I'm learning how to do that now. I'm trying to come out the other side. I am a very proud veteran. Yes, I am a very, very proud veteran. And I'm proud to be called a veteran, which for so many years I wasn't. And nobody knew I was even military. I was so ashamed that nobody knew I was military. Nobody. I never spoke of it. I mean, if somebody found out, or if I had said, I was in the military, or at some point people would ask, I avoided the questions, because it's like, well, why did you get out? Why would you? And I wouldn't want to answer those questions. I was too ashamed to answer those questions. So I just didn't say anything. And if anybody did know that I was military, I would just slough it off and just say, well, yeah, I was in for a couple of years and I got out. I didn't like it, right? Which is so far from the truth. I would lie. I won't lie anymore. And I am a very proud veteran.